What's up, movement athletes? It's your boy Chris Tats, and this is the New Movement Podcast. This is number 1. I'm with my co-host Jacko.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, it's gonna be awesome, man. We're gonna love this.
I'm super excited.
We're gonna be getting into it, chatting about fitness, and yeah, it's gonna be me. And I'm glad to have you here, bro.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's gonna be sick. We've been talking about the podcast for a while.
We have.
At work, you should see us just going absolutely nuts, pissing people off, talking about we're gonna do a pod. We're doing a pod on Sunday. But we're all here.
We're hyping them up, but hopefully we can.
Hey, it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
it's gonna be sick. I wish my boy Dua was here, but yeah, hopefully he'll be able to see this and everyone will be able to watch this, and hopefully you guys enjoy, and we'll get into it. All right, we'll start this off.
So to start off, we're gonna go with a question about getting into Cali for the first time. So someone wants to know where do they start when getting into Cali for the first time, especially if they have no discipline and they lack self-accountability.
Yeah, I see. So getting started, I started in my own bedroom. I was just on the floor doing push-ups, sit-ups. I did a little bit of weights at the start, but then I was like, weights aren't for me. So I just started on the floor doing push-ups and that sort of stuff. And then I think that gave me the ground strength. So just being able to master your push-up at the start is probably the best thing to do. Pull was quite hard, so when I did sign up to the gym, I just focused on push and pull. And then you got to make it easy on yourself. You got to do low reps. You got to be doing I started doing 5 reps. I'm not sure about yourself. Like how many reps did you do when you kind of started?
When I started doing push-ups for the first time?
Yeah, push-ups or just like your weights when you started doing weight training.
When I started doing weight training, the reps were probably anywhere from 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Because when you first get into weight training, you want to start with a low RPE, a low rate of perceived exertion. You don't want to put too much high stress on the muscles.
Yeah.
So you do high reps, but you do them to a point where you're still like 3 to 5 reps shy of failure.
Yeah, that's it.
Just so you're not stressing the muscle too much.
Exactly. So with the Cali, you just want to start with like 5 push-ups, 5 pull-ups. If you're doing that like a couple times a week, you're going to get strong. And you got to build that sort of rapport, and you're going to be on. So it's going to be sick. And
as far as lacking discipline and self-accountability
that's a tough one.
Yeah, what would you say for that? What advice would you give?
It's tough because you got to love what you're doing, obviously, first. You got to love the sport straight away. It's going to be really hard with discipline if you're not wanting to be there. If you're really not wanting to be there, it's going to be hard. That's number 1. Number 2, it's just about like doing what you need to do. You got to do. If you need to work out, you got to get there and do it. So it's a bit of self-discipline first. It's always discipline first and then motivation, I find. But then as soon as you start seeing some success, that's exactly when motivation builds and then discipline builds as well. So I'm not sure about you. What about you, Jacko? When you started working out from the very start. Do you remember the first day you jumped in?
I do, actually.
And your motivation was probably like,
I do. I don't think at that point, because it was such a new activity, it wasn't even about motivation. I think when you start something for the first time, especially if you know it's going to be good for you and it's going to improve the quality of your life, You're not thinking too much about the motivation. You're thinking about, what am I doing here? Like, what is the things that I need to really focus on to learn about this as quickly as possible and get into it as much as possible? Because that's your purpose when you first start, right? You just want to really get into it, see if you click with it, and see what benefits it can bring for you.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So, but I think I like what you said about discipline, where initially it's all about discipline.
Absolutely.
And then at a certain point, motivation kicks in and takes over.
And if you start seeing some success.
Like you said, if you love the sport, it's just smooth sailing from there.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, as much as you do have to be disciplined, you're equally as motivated to do it. So the discipline is almost easy in some ways.
So guys, as soon as you start getting great in the gym, you start seeing success, that's when your motivation is going to build, and that's when you're going to start seeing some gains.
Love it.
Yeah, that's me. That's sick.
So next question is, how do I start calisthenics? Calisthenics.
No, bro, it's all good. Just call it Cali, bro. Yeah, absolutely. Just call it Cali.
So this next person wants to know, how do they start Cali as a skinny person?
Oh, all right. As a skinny person. So I was skinny, so I can help a lot with this one. So it was just repetition first off. So I just did, like, as I said before, lots of push-ups in my room. But it's doing the basics. So push and pull, you want to smash as many times as you can. So my training regime was 45 minutes every day. And I just train every day for 45 minutes all the time.
And would that be like push-ups and pull-ups for 45 minutes straight, pretty much?
Yeah, mostly push and pull-ups. I do legs as well. You can't forget your leg day. Never forget the leg day. But it was just mostly push and pull. And it's repetition. So you got to like find what works for you. If it's 3 times a week, I reckon, it could be all right. You could do 3 times a week and go for longer, or just go 45 minutes, 30 minutes. You might gas out because you're brand new to it. But if you can do it for 30 minutes every day, you're going to naturally get stronger, and then you're going to start building muscle. As soon as you start building muscle, that's when motivation again kicks in, and you're just going to see more gains, and you're going to be, oh, this is sick. And then to help, when I had a lot of protein powder as well. So you're hitting your protein, you're getting your sleep, and you're working out every day, and you're doing a good, small, like, pretty good workout, you'll be on. So what about you, Jacko? What about you when you like started? Because we're both like more skinny boys when we started.
Yeah, I was super skinny when I started. I think obviously the training is super important.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it comes to weight gain or weight loss, diet is all the more important than the training itself.
Exactly.
Like I always think about the 80-20 rule. Weight loss is
That's it.
80% diet and 20% exercise.
Yeah.
And I think a similar principle applies to gaining muscle as well. Maybe it's a little bit less than 80-20.
Yeah.
But you got to make sure you're eating a lot.
Yeah,
lots of protein, lots of calories, because when you're skinny, and especially if you find it difficult to put on weight, eating as many calories as possible is only going to help you get stronger and put on more muscle.
Yeah, this guy knows. We both know. We're both from the skinny realm.
I'm still super skinny, man, but I'm working on it.
No, he's got good legs, though. He's got good legs. It's mean. All right, next question. What do you reckon?
Next question. So, next I want to start getting into some exercises. So, if someone is learning for the
very first time kind of thing?
So, next I want to start getting into some specific Cali exercises.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for example, if someone is learning the muscle up for the first time, how do they go from the beginner stage where they're just doing pull-ups to eventually get to the level that you're at now?
So muscle ups. It's definitely using like assistance. So probably grabbing something like a resistance band. You can find them at your local fitness stores. You can get the thick bands, the medium, and the smalls. Being a starter to calisthenics and being really bad at pull-ups, which everyone is, by the way, you want to grab the thickest band because it's going to help you the most when you're jumping up. So when you're doing pull-ups, thickest band, you jump in it, you want to rep as many as you can. So I'd say if you're in the gym and you want to get really good at pull-ups, do as many as you can without like having to use a band. So do as many reps as you can, then you burn out. If you can go for another set, that's great as well. Jam that set. Then you start getting fatigued. You'll get, like your arms will be heavy. That's when you jump into the resistance band. So loop around the bar, jump in it, and then rep out the same amount of reps if you can, or drop set it. But at least got the band, it's going to help you progress. Then again, do that 3 times, 4 times a week. It's a lot of repetition at the start. It gets boring. But as soon as you keep doing that, you're going to be sweet. So I don't know for you.
So start up doing as many pull-ups as you can in a row, body weight.
Without, body weight.
And then drop set into resistance band pull-ups.
As soon as you start getting super tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it might be the same with like weights, you know. When you're doing weight training, you probably want to do the same, right?
I mean, it really depends. Like drop sets can be a great way to add intensity if you're doing weight training.
Weight.
But generally speaking, it's not necessary. Like drop sets, from what I know, are useful if you're in the more advanced stages of training, where you've already put on a lot of muscle and you want to really eke out a little bit more gains from your body. Yeah. But during the early stages with weight training, if you just focus on progressive overload and you focus on getting like the right rest times in between sets, doing drop sets isn't as important. It's just making sure that you're adding weight onto the bar each week, adding reps onto the bar each week, one or the other, and just like eating as much as you eating
much as you can.
Eating as much as you can,
absolutely.
if that's your goal.
Yeah, I mean.
But just trying to progressive overload in whatever way possible.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I think we hopefully answered that one for you guys. On to the next one, I reckon. We're doing good, by the way. I think we're feeling comfortable. Yeah, feeling good.
I'm feeling good.
I hope you guys are enjoying the show.
It's really enjoyable just to sit here and talk about Cali and exercise in general.
And this guy here is a good speaker. So my co-host Jack he's a legend right here.
This guy's a legend. All right. But it's weird because you and I obviously both love fitness, but we don't talk about it very often.
Exactly, we don't.
It's crazy, and even since the first day I met you,
it's actually bossy. We don't talk about it.
We were both talking about the fact that we like fitness.
Yeah.
But then
I think that's how we kind of connect today.
Yeah, but we haven't even talked about it that much.
I know, we actually don't.
We don't.
We still need to train together, by the way. So maybe Jack comes in a video. We should feature in a video.
That is a great idea.
You should come in the calisthenics video and do one of the workouts. We could do it together. That should be me.
Give me a few months to get my muscle back, because I'm still 4 kilos down.
How you gonna be
12 months ago, I weighed 74 kilos. Right now, I weigh 71.
Damn. So you did lose a bit.
Bro, because of chronic fatigue, I still haven't got my muscle back.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
next one.
So next question is going to be about abs. If someone has just started getting abs by doing ab exercises, do they need to keep doing the exercises to see more visible abs?
Yeah, I think absolutely. But diet comes first with abs always. You want to be making sure you're under your calorie deficit. That's like number one for abs. You want to be eating less and then training harder. That's kind of my motto anyway. But obviously enough so you're not going to be starving all day. I'm a different breed, so I don't eat as much. But Jacko knows here, I only have like one meal a day kind of thing.
This guy's crazy. I don't know how he does it.
One meal a day, and I train hard. I have a protein shake.
He's a freak of nature. It doesn't make any sense. Scientists couldn't figure out how this guy gains muscle. It's mental.
It's actually buzzy, but definitely you want to keep doing the exercises, but be under your calorie deficit, and you'll be sweet. But doing different exercises is going to hit different areas, but every core exercise is going to hit the whole core, so you can't single out a piece of your core. It's going to work out the whole area. So yeah, you can't target it. You can do variations of abs, but you can't actually target like your low abs for say, because it's going to do your whole abs. So doing a crunch is going to do the whole thing. It might do more of the bottom, but you can't target the whole thing. So definitely you got to keep doing reps, but then eating less, and you're going to see visible gains. Yeah, I'm not sure about for you and ab training.
For you, what does your ab training look like? What are your favorite exercises? How do you structure it? How many times per week?
That's a good question. So I usually train abs every time I train. I do this 5-minute workout where I do 5 different exercises for 5 minutes. So what that is just hyper excessive overload on your abs, because that's how you want to train your abs. You just really want to smoke them. You want to be so like in pain, but you're only doing like 1 or 2 rounds. So 5 minutes, 5 different exercises. You pick the exercises. I'll make a video on this one, and we'll be on. It'll be good.
So do you change it up sometimes as well, or do you have
the exercises?
Same?
Yeah. I usually try to go for the 5 minutes, but you can change the exercises. So if you get bored of the same exercise each week, just change the exercises. But do it for 5 minutes. You can do for 1 round at the start. Sometimes I do 3 rounds. Haven't done that for a while, but I used to do 3 rounds of 5 minutes with a decent amount of break in between. But each of the 5 reps, you're not having any break, so you're on it the whole time. But then you can have a big one once you finish the 5 minutes. So that's kind of how I train.
Yeah.
But for you, Jacko, how do you train your abs when you're at the gym?
I keep it really simple, actually. I don't enjoy ab training.
Yeah, who does?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Vicious.
So I keep it really simple. I only train abs twice a week, and I just do hanging leg raises, and I'll just do 3 sets.
That's a great exercise, guys. Hanging leg raises are great.
90-second rest in between sets, and I just apply progressive overload each week and just add reps.
That's good, yeah. So completely hanging, like straight arms?
Yeah, just hanging off a bar and
that's
raising my legs, making sure to raise the coccyx as well, the bottom of the spine, just so you get a full contraction.
You get that full contraction. It's all about contraction as well, guys. All about contraction.
All about contraction.
And then how many reps you do?
Of that, not many. I can do like 12 probably.
It's usually
around
leg raises. How many you could do. Yeah, they're really tough.
Yeah, they are tough.
Yeah. And then
because you're lifting the whole...
certain amount of rounds as well?
Well, I do 3 sets twice a week. So
3 sets twice a week,
it's probably not an ideal amount in terms of if you want to get the most muscle growth out of your abs. But because it's not something that's super important to me, especially at this point in time, I'm trying to focus on other muscle groups. Mostly like, deadlifting, benching, squatting, overhead pressing, pull-ups. They're my main sort of like 5 compound movements that I focus on. Yeah. And obviously abs are super important, and I wouldn't suggest that anyone neglects training them.
Yeah.
But I guess a little bit of laziness as well, to be honest.
Couple slabs.
Perfectly honest.
Couple slabs. We'll get into the slabs later, but you brought up a good point with like choosing what you prioritize. I think that's important because you got to prioritize certain things. If you want it really bad, you got to prioritize it. If you really want abs, go ham at abs. There's nothing wrong with doing abs a whole session. I tend to just do a full body workout and do abs at the end because I like to get a bit of abs every time. But I know some people just do abs the whole session. Then they'll do chest the other whole session. Then they'll do legs the whole session. I kind of build it all in together, and it kind of just works for me. But do whatever works for you. That's the best advice.
So what does your training look like at the moment? How many times per week? Like how long are your sessions? And like what do your sessions actually look like? How are they structured?
I like that question. So I train 3 times a week, but I'll go for like 2.5 to 3 hours, as I always say.
You're a machine.
I don't even know how I do it with 1 meal a day as well.
It's crazy.
But I usually be getting there, do the hardest thing at the start of your workout. So it's handstand push-ups. Get those out the way. Ring muscle ups, get those out the way as well. Those are the hardest things. You always want to train the hardest things at the start because that's when you're your freshest. There's no point trying to go in there and never, guys, do handstands or anything muscle ups when you're tired because that's when you get injured. And I've got a couple videos of that I can overlay right here.
Have you made that mistake before?
Absolutely. Here's one probably right here. I'll put it on the screen of me falling off the top of the bar. Probably really bad quality, but I'll pop that in there. And I was tired, tried to do this freestyle move, slammed straight on the floor.
Oh, no.
From 2 meters up. Tried to do you guys will see it, but it was nuts. And I got to show you as well.
Yeah, I'm keen to see
I don't think I've actually showed you.
That sounds vicious.
But
I haven't seen that before.
But back to the topic. Then I'll get into the workout. So I do a main and a full body split. So I do chest and arms. Then I'll probably move over to more like back as well. Add back into there. And then I'll do legs separately. So I'll do like bodyweight squats. And I'll kind of use the weight machine to kind of do legs as well. And then by the time I've done that, it's an hour and a half of training. Then I'll do abs separately. I always do abs separately. I don't do them in between because you really want to focus on your core. And then I'll wrap up pretty much after that. I'll do my last cool down stretches. And then by the time it's done all that, it's 2.5 to 3 hours. Because I just go for like heaps of reps, heaps of sets, heaps of rounds as well. Yeah.
You must be smoked after that.
Mega smoked, bro.
Mega smoked.
Mega smoked.
That's when you down a slab.
That's when I get back and I down a slab. What about for you, Jacko, in your like training sessions?
So I do.
I'm actually interested in like how many rounds you do and what your training looks like too.
Yeah, so I've just changed to a 4-day-a-week program. I used to do push-pull legs, and I do it 5 days a week. But now I'm just doing a program 4 days a week, and it's structured mainly around compound movements.
Yeah.
So the priority, like we were talking about before, is deadlift twice a week, squat twice a week, bench 3 times, pull-ups 3 times, and overhead press once. And they're like the main 5 compound movements. And then I have some isolation exercises sprinkled in around there as well.
Good.
So
That's
for the
really
buys,
good.
the tries, the shoulders.
Yeah.
And the main focus for me is just to apply progressive overload as much as possible.
That's good.
Mainly on the compound movements.
Yeah,
so I just really want to like explode my squat, deadlift and bench. Just push them up as much as possible, because the more you progressively overload, especially in the early stages of training, if your diet is in tune as well, you're eating enough protein, you're eating enough calories to gain weight, that's how you're going to put on the most amount of muscle possible.
That's
at least in theory. So I'm hoping it works.
It's in theory, but he's in the trial stages.
Yeah,
he's doing good.
He's doing good. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's good, exactly.
But I'm hoping it works out.
No, absolutely will. Absolutely. We're in the right area with the right people. You can make it happen. If you've got a good training partner at the gym, train with them. It can help motivation. So,
do you have any history or experience with training partners, and how has it impacted your training?
Your training partners have been good. It pushes you to a certain extent, but so I myself can push myself really hard. Most of the time I push myself a little bit harder when I'm by myself. I get into the Zen flow state, as we like to say. I get fully just in the gym. I'm just in the zone. And I can't really snap out of it. Sometimes some of my mates always see me. I'm just like a F the world sort of mood. It's funny to say, but I'm just kind of like against the world kind of thing. It's like I talked with Josh Halim about this. It's like getting into a state of, it's not a negative space. Not like you're saying F the word in a negative way. You're saying it in like a positive way, which sounds really weird. But it's in a positive way to make you train harder, to do more reps. It's like you're angry, but in a positive way. It's weird to explain.
Battling against yourself?
It's kind of like that, yeah. It's kind of battling against yourself. Yeah, you bring up a good point there. Battling against yourself in like a positive way. I don't think you want to train in the negative way. If you're negatively training, you have the potential risk of hurting yourself.
And you're doing it for the wrong reasons as well?
Yeah, you might be doing it for the wrong reasons. Yeah, you want to do it for the right reasons. That's just my opinion anyway. So yeah. So what about for yourself when you train? Do you ever get into that flow state or that angry at the world state, or is that just me?
No, it might just be. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like that though.
Yeah.
No, I don't really get into, like when I think about things that put me in a flow state, gym isn't really one of them. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I love training, but I wouldn't say it puts me into a flow state. Am I fueled by negativity when I do it? No, not really. I just enjoy being there. That's good. It's good for me, and I like pushing myself, and I know it's healthy, and it makes me more fit. It gets me closer to the person that I want to become.
That's it.
So there's so many benefits to it, and those are the things that keep me motivated and keep me going when I'm at the gym, as opposed to being in a flow state.
Isn't this guy just good at talking? Smashes it. But I just love the flow state you're in when you get to talking. That's why he's my co-host. It's gonna be sick. I love it.
I appreciate you, bro.
That's me, absolutely. Oh, what's next? What's the next question they're asking?
Let's see which one.
See how it goes. Just pick anyone.
Yeah, true.
Quite a few down here, guys. Thanks for putting in your questions.
Because some of the questions, as we're like asking them, and then I ask you a follow-up question, or you go deeper into the question, you already answer some of these other ones.
Yeah. So we got to find some.
Trying to pick the right one. See
if we have any that we haven't really talked about.
Yeah.
We've been talking well, though. I think this is first podcast doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, this is
actually decent. I'm loving this. This is
Me
awesome.
too.
I hope you guys are enjoying.
I want to do it.
I hope it doesn't look whack. Yeah, it's going to be sick. It's going to be good.
So, how can I progress in Cali if I can't do a push-up or a pull-up yet?
Well, that's actually a tough one. If you can't do a push-up, pull-up, you definitely have to be practicing them. You have to try. So, again, you can use a resistance band. So, for push-up, let's say, if you have somewhere to hang a resistance band, you can climb in it. put the resistance band around your chest, and then it'll help, as you go down, it's going to be pulling against you. So it's going to pull you back up. So that's a way you can train. The way I actually did it in my bedroom was doing knee push-ups. I'll probably have to put it in, but I'll try and explain it as best as I can. But you get on your knees and you do rocker push-ups. So you're on your knees and you rock forward. You do the push-up, and then as you push back up, you go back into like a, let's say like a turtle position.
So you're using a little bit of momentum to help you get it done.
You're going forward, you do the push-up, but you're on your knees, so half the weight's off you. And you do those reps as many times as you can. So for push-ups, I had to do that because I found push-ups so hard. People think push-ups are easy.
I find that crazy to believe that you couldn't do any push-ups.
No, I couldn't do it.
Mental.
And pull-ups, even worse. I used to cheat by kipping. So you use your legs to take the momentum and pull you up. That's the worst thing you want to do. You've got terrible form and you're not going to get any strength from that. So use resistance band. For pull-ups, jump in it, wrap it around the bar, and put your feet in the bar. You can put both feet or one, and then you're just doing pull-ups and get the thickest band, like I said before. And that's probably the best way, is to do that turtle, I don't even know what to call it, the turtle push-up, I'll call it, and then doing
the knee turtle push-up.
Yeah. Or use the band around your chest. And then for pull-ups, you probably want to, easiest way, Australian pull-ups is another good one, and then stepping in the band. Yeah.
Awesome.
Stepping in the band, and then, I think that's probably the best way to do it. I did those a lot. I had to. Because at the start, it's the hardest part of calisthenics is starting. Definitely is. You get so demotivated because you're like, I can't do this. That's why a lot of people don't do it. It's interesting. People always say, I wish I could be like you. And I'm like, you absolutely can. They try the first day, they're like, I couldn't do a pull-up. I'm like, pull-ups are hard. Don't you know? Pull-ups are really hard, bro. Try and be a little bit easy on yourself. Pull-ups are really hard. Most people think, I can do a pull-up. They get to it and they're like, oh, damn, this was tough. Yeah, and I'm like, I think everyone experiences that. Have you ever experienced that with your first pull-up, push-up?
Oh, absolutely, mate. There was a point where I can maybe only do 8 pull-ups now, but there was
hard.
a point where I could not do a single pull-up.
Yeah.
They're a difficult exercise.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a very difficult exercise. And I also find them very difficult to add reps to. Have you got any tips for other people that might be struggling to add reps to their pull-ups?
That's a good point. Again, it's repetition. If you want to really advance, so say you get really good at pull-ups, you don't really need the band anymore, and you want to advance how many reps you do, just add weight to yourself. So you get something simple as leg weights or ankle weights, or you can get a dumbbell is what I do. So if you don't have, let's say you don't have ankle weights or you don't want to buy any, just use the gym's dumbbell, put it between your ankles, and then just jump up on the bar, and then obviously if it's high enough, you won't be touching the floor, and rep as many as you can. And if you can only do, let's say, 3, but you did 3 holding a 6 kg dumbbell, that's going to make gains. It's going to make gains, and it's going to help strength. And if you do that progressively during the week, you're going to see crazy gains and crazy strength. So you can start, let's say, once again, like I said, let's start with the heaviest stuff or the hardest stuff at the start of the workout.
So weighted pull-ups, for example.
So if you really want to advance, and you said, let's say you can do 5 to 10 pull-ups without any weight and without the need of resistance band, grab a weight, put it in your ankles, do about 10. Let's say max out 10 because you're fresh. Then you're going to be gassed. You're like, oh, damn, that was nuts. Drop the weight, do 6 reps. Then you're going to be like, whew, I'm even more cooked now. Boom. You don't even touch any weight. You do 3 reps. And then you do 3 sets. Do that 3 times around. Do that multiple times, as many times as you can. Yeah, I reckon that's the best way to increase the numbers of how many you can do. Same with push-ups. Same sort of thing.
And then do that for 2.5 hours straight. You're training like Chris Tats.
Exactly. If you do that 2.5 hours
That's
straight.
how easy it is, guys.
But at the start, I was doing it for 45 minutes. So it varies a little bit. But I'll just focus on the very basics. You have to. It's like anything you do. Always focus on the basics. Because you're not going to expect to just walk into a gym and just be never done Cali before and you're just smashing out reps like it's nothing. It's not realistic. Same with weight training, right? You can't be going in there and lifting up the biggest dumbbell. Do you have any experiences with that, like starting and...
What, with ego lifting?
Yeah, kind of things like that. We can go into that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, ego lifting is obviously unhealthy. You always want to work within your limits. You're only going to injure yourself if you use a weight that's too much for what your body can handle. So I would say anytime you're starting a new exercise for the first time, always do a weight that is slightly lower than what you think you can do.
That's a good point, guys. Yeah. Jacko made a good point there.
And then get the form down pat as much as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Make sure your form is really good before you start adding weight.
I love that.
To whatever
That's
exercise
really
you're doing, because
yeah.
that is the safest way to do it. Plus, if you're doing it in that way, it means that as you progress and as you put more weight on, your form isn't going to deteriorate as much. Because you know when the weights get heavier and sometimes you start using momentum or other muscle groups.
That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, to help you get that extra rep in.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's going to increase your risk of injury.
And you don't want injuries, guys. Important. And then we can kind of move on to that. Like, how do you prevent yourself getting injuries? What's your warm-up look like so you don't get injuries when you're doing weightlifting?
Warm-up, so I always start before every session by doing dynamic stretching. So as opposed to static stretching, like holding a muscle for like 30 seconds. Just like moving my arms around across my body, shoulder rotations, moving my legs around if I'm doing if it's a leg day. And then before each of my major compound movements that I do, I'll do, say, 1 to 3 warm-up sets beforehand.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And I think that's probably that's my way of preventing injury, but also just making sure that the muscles are warmed up before I do each exercise.
With me, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at warming up. Bro, I'll get in the gym, don't even warm up.
You just get straight into it.
Oh, straight into it. And like, that's all good when you're young. You can just walk in there, get straight into it. But the older you get, and the harder the moves get, you have to warm up. You have to warm up. I've gone in to do some handstand push-ups. I'm going down. I haven't warmed up. I'm like doing banana-ing as I'm doing the push-up back up. Tweak my back. A muscle I've never felt in my back before. I was like, what the hell?
Where was it? What part of your back?
Like mid-back.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest feeling. I pulled it, and I was like, oh no. I've like done this weird muscle I've never felt before. I was like, oh shit, what have I done? I'm cooked. I'm like walking around like, oh damn. I might be out. I might be out of this, like out of the training for the week. Who knows? Maybe months. I was kind of scared, and realized I just tweaked the muscle, so it was all right. It wasn't like anything. I didn't tear anything. Just pulled it, but it really put me out because I couldn't practice handstand push-ups again.
For how long? How long were you out?
It was a week. Like 2 weeks actually. 2 weeks I couldn't really do it. I'd feel the pain. It's because I arched and I didn't warm up, and then you got to do the exercise right, and then you also got to stretch, and those two things are so important. Otherwise, you just injure yourself and then you're done.
So what kind of warm-up would you recommend for people that are getting into Cali?
That's a good question. So currently, if I'm doing warm-ups, I'm usually... Well, let's go to stretching first. It's called like pulling the muscles, but you're not doing a static hold. Never do static holds before you do a workout. So I hope I kind of want to show the camera how you do it, but I don't want to get out of frame. But when you're doing a stretch, you're holding here and you're just doing the pumps like that. You don't want to hold the...
Pulse reps of static stretching.
Yeah. You want to like pulse it, especially at the start because your muscle's like an elastic band. So let's say if you hold the stretch, and let's think of it as a spring actually. You know those little coil springs and pins?
Yeah.
So if you like stretch those out, which is what you do to your muscles, you pull all the way out, that little spring is like stretched all the way out and it doesn't recoil. Like it doesn't go back.
So it's going to loosen.
Yeah, it like stays like loosened. And it makes you more fatigued when your muscles are like that spring that's been loosened doesn't coil back. But let's say you like grab the little coil and you're pulling on it. And then it springs back. And that's exactly what your muscles do. So when you're doing reps, you feel that spring, you feel that extra strength. So you never want to hold your stretches until after. So after, that's when you do the long stretch. That's when you can get the spring and just pull it all the way out.
So do the dynamic stretching and the pulse reps beforehand and then do the static stretching afterwards.
That's exactly it.
Love it.
So I'm not sure how you stretch. I don't know if you do the pulsing or I've ever heard about that.
Yeah. So I've heard about it in the context of rubber bands, like you said before.
Yeah.
So think of your muscle like a rubber band, like you were saying.
Yeah.
The more you stretch out that rubber band, the looser it's going to get. And the less power it's going to have. So if you think about when you try to flick a rubber band at someone, the tighter that band is, the more power it's going to have when you flick it. The looser the band is, the less power it's going to have. And think of that power in the context of your muscles. They're going to have less power if you've static stretched them before you do the workout.
That's good. Yeah. I love the stuff he comes up with. It's mean. This is perfect.
Thanks, bro.
So I think we're nearing the end of the podcast. Should we do one more question, I reckon?
Yeah, let's do
one more question and then we'll wrap up, I reckon.
Yeah.
This has been a good first episode.
Really fun.
And we've been chilling. I'm feeling good.
Me too. I was
a little bit nervous at the start though.
Yeah.
My hand was shaking. I was like, damn.
That's natural though. That's
exactly.
super natural.
How are you feeling at the start?
Honestly, fine.
Yeah, you're just a beast, bro. I think this guy's never talked in front of cameras, but he's sweet. I'm here like, I've talked to cameras, I've made videos, and my hand's doing this. I'm like, what the hell?
I just really tried to like get my mind into the zone of all this is just talking to someone else.
It's the flow state. Exactly, that she is.
You know, it's just like it's like a perspective thing.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
like
and then you're sitting down relaxing and you just chill.
Yeah,
it's just good. Yeah. So we'll get into the last question, I reckon.
Let's do it.
We'll do a bit of a yarn down at the end, and we'll close off the first podcast.
All right. Okay, let me just pick a good one.
If you find one, no hurry. No hurry. Hopefully the audio here, guys, isn't too vicious. We've had a lot of showers going on. It's in the apartment meeting room. We've booked out. Made it look nice. Jesse's got who's behind the camera? He's got the plant. He's got the bougie little lamp back here. Looks beautiful.
He's done a good job.
Yeah, she has done a good job. He's been monitoring the cameras behind. Yeah. Beautiful.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, I think he's doing an absolutely great job.
He's a ripper of a cameraman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, I've got the final question.
Hit me with the final question.
I'm excited for this one. So what is the difference between Cali and weightlifting, and which is better for muscle building?
Right.
That's a difficult one.
First off, without getting cancelled, I respect both sides. So if you're a calisthenics athlete or if you're a weightlifter, if you're a bodybuilder, I respect all sports. They all have different strengths and they all do different things. They're all targeting a different area of your body, all doing different purposes with them. So probably the difference between what was the question? So
what's the difference between Cali and weightlifting, and which is better for muscle building?
So definitely calisthenics is going to take longer because you're building muscle with your body weight, especially at first. Let's say you weigh 50 kgs. You only got, doing pull-ups to say, you've only got 50 kgs on you, whereas you could slap 70 on a pull down on a machine. So you're going to get bigger fast with weights. That's a no-brainer because you can add so much more weight. You can progress a little bit faster as well. With calisthenics, you kind of have to do repetition for a long time until you can start adding weight because push-ups are really hard as soon as you add a 10 kg plate to your back or a weight vest, you're going to feel it. And I've felt that before. It's nuts. I'm like, ooh. I slap that weight on the back and I'm like, this is vicious. I can only do 3. I'm like, damn. So it's going to take longer to build muscle with calisthenics, definitely. And then weights, you're gonna build muscle faster because you can add more weight to yourself. You can make 5 reps and you can do 130 kgs of something. It's gonna be better than having to do 130 reps of body weight to kind of match the same thing.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the difference. You're building muscle with your body weight, the calisthenics, and then you're using weights for weighted training, as the name speaks for itself. So that's probably the main differences. And just keeping in mind that calisthenics is going to be a lot of repetition. So is weights, but you can add more weight to yourself, which is going to be faster increases.
And do you think any one of them is better for muscle building in general?
They have their different use cases. I'd say if you're wanting to get shredded, real shredded and lean, and you want to be quick. So let's say I use calisthenics to kind of get into water polo. I played water polo, so I want it to be quick. You don't really want to put a lot of muscle when you're in the pool because you're just going to find it really hard to get out of the water and then throw the ball around. So if you want speed, agility, you got to do calisthenics and you'll get that shredded, lean body. I think with weights, if you're looking to get massive, you're looking to have big arms, big legs, ripped core and a massive chest, then definitely weights is probably the way to go. Not saying that you can't do that with calisthenics, you definitely can. It's just going to take longer. So if you want to get there faster and you want to do more bodybuilding, definitely go weights. If you want that more agility for your sports, let's say you're in school and you want to get faster at rugby, you want to be quicker off the floor doing a burpee to go and tackle someone like in rugby like you used to play or water polo, you want to be fast in the pool. You want to be able to dive out of the water, chuck the ball into the net. You kind of want that agility. You don't want to be massive in the pool. Rugby, you want to kind of weight train with that so you can bowl through people, but then it depends what position you play. I was a flanker, so I wanted to be quick, agile. So I did calisthenics. Lots of burpees. Burpees help with that. Even surfing. Let's say you go surfing. You want to jump up on the board as fast as possible. Kind of do calisthenics. If you're massive and you're trying to leap onto the surfboard, it's going to be a lot harder than someone who does calisthenics and naturally can do burpees real well. Jumps up. Boom. He's on the board. And what about you, Jack? What do you think?
That's a great answer.
What do you think?
Thank you. I thoroughly agree with you. I think they do have their different use cases, and like you said, I think Cali's about do you want control over your body?
That's it. Absolutely.
Or do you want control over weights?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because Cali just gives you this incredible control over the weight of your own body. Exactly. It teaches you how to move your body in space, whereas weight training is about how do you move other objects in space. So like you said, different sports, different use cases. it depends what your goal is.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You know, what do you want out of your weight training? Do you want, like you said,
hit the nail on the head right
the
there.
ability to play water polo,
Yeah, exactly.
or do you want the ability to play rugby?
Exactly. It's kind of like
really
the differences. Yeah, and it depends what position you play again.
But I think you can achieve similar results in terms of muscle building with both.
Yeah.
But if you want the really, really high-end muscle building stuff, probably weight training, because that's what all of the bodybuilders do, right?
Yeah, and then there's a reason they do weights, because look at them, they're massive.
Yeah.
Can't compare to myself. I'm more shredded and lean, and they're huge. Like, their biceps the size of my head. So, hats off to them. I see some guys in the gym doing some crazy stuff, and I'm like, mate, I look over you, I'm like, I can't do that, man. That's heavy. And then they look at me doing the calisthenics stuff, and they're like, bro, I can't do that. So there's always that, like, the difference, but we respect both sides.
People want what they can't have.
Yeah, exactly. It's always like that. But it depends, your use case for it, and then, you go for it, and just train hard. That's the thing.
Love it, man.
That was a good first podcast, I reckon.
That was awesome.
That was me. Jacko, you spoke really well.
As did you, mate.
And I really hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be on the next podcast soon. Not sure when it will be, but we'll see how this first one goes. Hope you guys enjoy, and send us some more questions, because we want as many questions as we can, because we want to keep doing this.
We would love to.
But Jack, how do you think this whole thing went?
Mate, I'm super. I'm super. I'm stoked with how it went, man.
Oh, that's
stoked. Like, especially for the first one, considering that we went into this going with no expectations, going, okay, this is probably going to be a little bit shit.
Hey guys, we were like, nah, it's all good. Bleep it out.
Okay,
it's fine.
This is probably going to be a little bit shit, but I think it actually turned out really well. And
guys,
at the end of the day,
were shitting ourselves.
It's practice. So
we were like,
it's practice.
We kind of went out last night, and we were like, oh man, for like one of our friends' birthdays, and we were. Woke up and we were in the smoke room, and I'm like, oh jeepers, I'm so tired, and we're like, oh, this might be terrible. And because speaking in front of a camera, I'm terrible at, but I'm speaking to my best man right here, so it's easier. So I enjoyed today. I enjoyed how we spoke. We actually spoke really well.
I think so too, especially for two hungover, sleep-deprived lads.
Yeah, I can't wait for the second pod, bro.
Let's do it.
This is gonna be sick.
I'm super keen.
This is gonna be sick. Let's
Thanks
wrap
for
this up.
having me on.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of the pod. Let's go.